What's good, y'all? This is your boy Harley, and welcome back, y'all. I'm so sorry, and to the bottom of my heart, that I didn't post any content last week. I was so focused with work, trying to make sure that, and I'm within a job transition. It's a whole lot that I could explain at this point, though, too. So I take sincere apology for how I handled the whole situation. I deeply apologize for all that stuff, too. But I want to give my deepest thoughts on this whole situation, and that hurts me, and that's sends tingles down my spine for every time I watch the video too. I'm pretty sure the video is surfacing everywhere. I would go ahead and put it through here, but at the same time I can't, because YouTube is very strict with their guidelines with showing like graphic content from my end of the channel too. It's not like I can send it through police activity to where they're like licensed and certified to be able to allow that too. And even then, they have some form of censorship. So I up until once I dig deeper into knowing how I can post stuff similar to that, but without having to go to the major extreme, I'll go ahead and keep it simple for now. But all I'm going to do is give my thoughts of Tyre Sampson and the carnival ride incident. So Tyre Sampson, for some of you that didn't know, he was a 14-year-old boy that went to attend a carnival ride in Orlando, Florida. And if people are just hearing about this too, go ahead and look up his name, Tyre Sampson, Tyre Sampson, Sampson too. And that whole situation where it was basically where he went on a carnival ride and he flew and fell off the carnival ride to where he fell down and his body went. I don't want to. I mean that whole situation still bothers me to this very day about all that, and I will be the first to tell you that. Nobody ever deserves to go through that too. Like, I don't normally wish for bad things to happen to people, but especially in this situation, honestly, I don't know what to think really, because I'm in nothing but discomfort and confusion when I go ahead and explain to you this. What I will say is that the carnival staff was so disgusting with how they handled the whole situation. I felt like they handled the whole situation for when his body landed on a straight impact on the ground horribly. Like, you couldn't ask for much more worse of a staff than those people that were attending to that whole matter too, or that were working at that carnival, or that were staff members of that ride too. And so, to remind you, Tyre Sampson is also 340 pounds. And what's speculated is that the ride weight limit is 280 pounds. So, reason why I say that they handle it poorly is because when the minute the body splattered, or like he fell immediately, hard impact from the floor, like, they didn't do anything. Were like, oh, call 911 and all that. So they felt, it looked like they didn't even try to give themselves a chance to look into the situation to see if he was okay, see if he was, like, literally they were taking their sweet time and all that stuff too. I remember I heard some of the people saying like, oh, like we gotta call an ambulance right now too. But it was like, can your staff or have someone come immediately, get someone who's like certified in health to make sure that the person's okay. And I'll also tell you this about carnival rides though too, and it kind of repeats itself. I view carnival rides where when it goes to the most extreme, like it goes from the most extreme for like Final Destination. The movie Final Destination is one of those movies where they showed a carnival ride go bad, or just any other miraculous like freak accidents go to worse or go to bad. Sorry, it's just been a long day for you, boy. But what I will say was that I'm pretty sure the guy told them, or the staff asked him, like, what was his weight limit, and he probably said just under the weight limit, because the weight limit for that ride was 280 pounds, and Tyre Sampson was 340 pounds. Does that mean that's Tyree's fault? No, but because whoever worked or conducted that ride, making sure people can come onto the ride and have fun and then come off, all they do is ask, wait, literally though too. And I feel like that's actually, it's not that I feel like, I know it's not enough to make sure people are guaranteed not to be or beyond that ride too. You know how there's like a little height measure for little kids that not being able to go on certain rides and stuff, like your height doesn't meet this ride. They need to actually put forth a scale. That's what they need to do, because of that situation right there. He was 60 pounds overweight for him to be able to go on that ride too. I mean, granted, I mean, like, he's already a big boy. He was 6'5", 340 pounds, and he was 14. Like a young innocent life taken away from a freak accident though too. All because their staff didn't do their job of making sure that he wasn't allowed on the ride. And the crazy part about carnival rides is that even when they ask you, people lie all the time. Like, I remember me, my dad, my younger brother went to a water park to where we're in this little tube and all we have to do is hold on to the little grips when going down that slide. And I remember them asking my dad, like, how much do you weigh? He set his weight above the weight limit, and then the lifeguard was like that's you're over the weight limit. So my dad ended up making a alternative lie and said he was 265. Yeah, my dad's a big guy, but yeah, that was the weight that he told him after he initially stated his original weight, which was over the weight limit too, and they let him ride too. So that happens too. It's same thing when you ask a woman their weight. Some women are going to say like, no, I'm 120, and they might be 160. There might be a guy that you say, oh, I'm like 175, and they're like 200. So what, like, no matter what the case may be, no matter if it's a guy or a woman, people are like, people lie at their weight. And this crazy part is that people also don't realize, some people may not realize, is that you might look like you're that weight, but you actually aren't. You could look like that you're 210 pounds, but you could realistically be 250. You could be 140, but actually be 170 too. I've looked at so many people's bodies and frames, and I think to myself like, oh, well, they look very light, but they actually happen to be pretty heavy. But so the reason why I'm mentioning that the two is because carnival, like, people who work the staff and making sure they ask weight should be doing a much better job in doing so too. What I will say is that at one point, do you think to yourself that going to carnival rides can be very fun, but extremely dangerous at the same time too? Like the ride that he was on where he was like how many feet high just for him to go all the way down. You gotta think that structure for him to be carrying a 340-pound kid, and he wasn't even like finished developing. So like he could have gotten bigger as he got older, but that's beside the point. And I don't say that with any disrespect, as I say this with utter disgustion and disgrace, being the fact that it's disgraceful for how that carnival staff said it. And I say that with full, honest, like heart too. My heart and prayers go out to Tyre Sampson's family and the pain that they're going throughout that whole horrific freak accident too. But nobody deserves to go through that, and the staff deserves to pay for what they did too. And being the fact that, and I get it that like when people like are like in that moment, you just see someone die. It's like there's other ways to handle it though too. Some people can't handle it very well, but in this case, they should have handled it so much better. And the fact that they were just watching them until like a couple seconds after, and then it was just, I'm like at a loss for words when seeing that. My first initial reaction is that when I first saw it, my back was just tingling, like my spine tingled, just from the sound. I would show the video, but I can't because of YouTube's monetization policy. So it says a lot in this case. So too, what like that the freak accidents that can happen in this world too. But what I will say is that I do know for a fact that carnival and the staff are getting a huge lawsuit for that, as they should too. And I feel moving forward, the same way how we check height requirements for children or for certain people, it's the same requirement that we should do for checking weight. We need to put a freaking scale out in the carnival. If you can't reach that weight requirement, then go. If people feel like sensitive about their weight, too bad. You pay your money to be in a carnival ride where we're looking like this is the way to look out for your life, right? If you don't want to die, if you don't want to go ahead and feel threatened when going on a carnival ride, or feel like that you're in some sort of peace, then maybe you should go ahead and actually accept the fact that they should implement a factor where they should have a scale there for these types of rides. And if they can't do that, then you're not going on the ride. That's what they should do. Other than that, I'm still at a loss for words throughout that whole situation too. Because you gotta understand, going to carnivals, like we pay our money for us to be able to have fun. We pay our money to be able to enjoy the atmosphere, have fun, go on fun rides, and all that stuff too. And the last thing we think about when going on these rides is situations like that. Like what happened to Tyre Sampson too. And it disgusts me that when you go on carnival rides that they don't have a way to implement this weight. It's just like, yeah, like that means like anyone can lie on those types of rides. That means you're literally putting someone in jeopardy of risk because of the fact, just like that incident, because someone lied about their weight. Now, it could have been that maybe he wasn't asked or maybe he was, but either way, that carnival is going to get a lawsuit too. And I'm going to have to rethink twice because I was at the carnival with my girlfriend Remy. And and there are certain rides where she even said she wouldn't even go on too. Like, all it takes, and I watched the movie Final Destination. I know people are laughing when I mentioned that movie but you got to factor in that Tyre Sampson incident was like a Final Destination moment too. All it takes is for one missing screw or one missing bolt or one missing part of a structure just to ruin everything too. Or dumb staff too. In this case, it was just dumb staff. And being the fact that it was dumb staff, the dumb staff allowed for that part of that ride to break, to why he fell the way that he did. And it's disgusting. It really is. It's just, God, it depresses me having to say all this too, because as I know other people feel the same way as I do, but I say this with full heart when saying this too. Carnival rides need to have weight scales. Carnival rides need to be a lot more strict than this. Carnival rides need to have pride. When people and kids and families are going on these rides, you're paying for your lives to be at risk if you're doing something like that. And it's just, and it's just like when you look, now it's just like, I bet you when other people look at that, you're making people fear going to a carnival ride. You're making people fear that never feared a carnival ride before, go to a carnival ride feared. You're making people realize that you should hold their money, and now you're going to create carnivals a bad name for themselves too, especially in the name of Tyre Sampson. Tyre Sampson lost his life innocently because the staff didn't do his job, and the staff didn't even take responsibility in making sure that the kid should have never been on that ride. Had he not been on that ride, he would have been walking and breathing air right now too and enjoying life. And I still put the full blame on the carnival ride. And so when I go ahead and say this, it's just like when you go to a bus stop or when you go ahead and you go on to or you go ahead and take an Uber. Like when you, or actually I'll use the Uber ride for example. When you pay your money to go on an Uber ride, you're going under their risks. If that driver goes gets in an accident, you are also going to get into an accident though too. So it's just when, or even then, when we walk outside our doors, we know the risks that we got to take too. There might be a time where when we go ahead and drive our car, based on your state with how good or bad driving is, you might get into an accident, which I don't wish that at all on anybody. But you might be in a situation where some dumb driver thinks he's self-privileged and wants to go ahead and take advantage of his own self-authority to make himself feel like that he's better than everyone else just for him to crash into innocent people. That's probably the same case being with the staff at this carnival in Orlando. They probably have people who was like, oh, well, I'm not getting paid this much money, so I'll just go ahead and let him slide. Letting him slide costed him his life too. On top of having to be scales there, they should also take a safety assessment course. So I don't know the precautions. I'm pretty sure you just apply and that's it. They should also have a safety assessment course where if the person visually, if you're not gonna have a scale, if the person visually doesn't look like that weight, I know it sounds harassing, being the fact that you have to say, oh, you're not this weight because you look this way. Tough stuff. Tough crap. Really. Like, stuff like that is the reason why we live in this world of wonder, and it's a wonder of bad hopes, really. But the thing that carnival rides must have, that fairs should have, is a weight scale right next to the entry and exit of the carnival ride. And that will solve everything, too. That will solve a lot of things. If you can't match that weight and height, you're off the ride. Especially from the visual eye of the number that's showing you what your weight is. And you're not going to go ahead and say, this scale is heavy, or the scale is, not heavy, or the scale isn't running correctly, too. I say that with full acknowledgement that these are what they need to assess. Otherwise, there aren't going to be any carnival rides. That means people are going to deter away from carnival rides. This is the risk that we play in this scary world. Literally. But my heart goes out, and my heart and prayers goes out to the Sampson family. And I hope they win this lawsuit. I hope that they find whatever is in their heart to go ahead and win this case successfully, which I know they will, because it's all caught on video. And for them to also for them to know that justice will be served. It will be, in the name of Tyre Sampson. That's why I want to go ahead and say, y'all, hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to keep up with more content, and I'm sorry I missed out on last week's video. It's just busy going on, too. I was even busy today on my off day, too. Doing a lot of things, running back and forth with a lot of stuff. But thank you all. I hope you all continue to hit like, share, and subscribe. Keep on tuning in. See you all later. Holler at me later. Yeah.